Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. So this is the Toor Knives Merchant. Very interesting knife from Toor Knives. They have traditionally done a lot of fixed blades, and they were coming out with some folders, so I really wanted to check out their folders. I was really hyped for this knife. When I first saw, the materials and what looked like, in the pictures with the build quality and everything, I was thinking to myself, hey, this could be and let's get the price out of the way. This is $250. This could be a cheaper version of what Spartan is putting out with the Spartan Harsey folder, or Chris Reeve is putting out with the Sebenza. So I was really hyped to say, all right, is this going to break new ground into the premium slow roller washer action folder market, right? So I was really, really hyped for this. I don't think it entirely lived up to the hype, but it's actually not bad overall. I know there's been some QC issues, which we'll get to a little later. My understanding is they're working on fixing those for future batches, but let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. So first of all, here is the Benchmade Griptilian and the Mini Griptilian. You can see this is more toward the size of the Benchmade Griptilian. Here is the Paramilitary 2 from Spyderco and the Para 3. And here is the Spartan Harsey folder. You can see it's a little bit smaller, probably more along the size of the Spartan Harsey 3.25. Then I'm going to show you two knives. Well, here's the Chris Reeve Sebenza, the large Sebenza. And you can see they were really trying to capture some of that Sebenza magic. The interesting thing is also, here's a Strider SMF. Now, I know the SMF is a lot bigger, but you can see sort of some of the influence as far as the lines. Obviously, the back's a little bit different, but as far as the lines here, there's some influence from Strider, I think. So I think the influence overall they were going for is sort of an aesthetic that blends some of what Strider does and some of what Chris Reeve does with, a build quality closer to what Spartan does. I don't think they were entirely successful with it, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the good things. So first of all, good is the blade shape on this. I'm not a huge Tonto guy, but I really, really like this blade shape. I used it to cut up a bunch of boxes. Did some testing on it. It really is a very, very nice blade shape overall. Works very well. The edge geometry is nice. Obviously, you have a lot of flat here, but it's angled upward a little bit, so it sort of acts like a belly a little bit, even though it's a complete straight flat, which is cool. The tip is nice and reinforced across here for piercing, so I think that's really good. On here, you have nice accents. You have these bronze accents. These come in a couple different configurations. I will say that I'm not in love with the configuration options as far as the colors and everything like that, but overall, this one in particular with the black and bronze, I like that scheme. Obviously, my Spartan is that scheme. But, that's really cool as well. The ergonomics on this are better than expected overall. I would say without the clip here, we'll get to the clip later, but without the clip here, I'd say the ergonomics are pretty much like a 7.5 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, which is good. So that's really nice as well. The action on this feels really smooth. It has really smooth washer action, which I appreciate. And the detent on it is okay. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible, right? You can still do nice flick outs and have no issues with that. So that's pretty good. The packaging on this is awesome, for the price anyway. What they do is they really try to replicate what Chris Reeve does. I don't have the packaging with me, but it's a square box, and the top lifts off, and then you've got inside a setup a little bit like what Chris Reeve does, but it's not quite up to their level. They have some cards inside. They have a little bit of frog lube so you can lube your own knife, just like Chris Reeve. Put some grease in theirs. I think they had the disassembly tool also, if I remember correctly. But again, I don't have it in front of me. But it was a pretty nice setup. The main difference was the Chris Reeve one is matte, has a matte finish on top, and really feels like a higher quality box. This one, it was like a glossy finish, and as a result, it felt a little bit cheaper. but it still was a nice presentation for the price. Again, the price $250 on this I think is a good price. I think these are probably going to sell in the secondary market for around 200-ish. I actually did sell this one already for 200, but I think that's where it's going to sit on the secondary market around that area. And for what you're getting here is titanium, S35 VN steel. So the materials are excellent. Titanium frame lock, S35 VN steel. With a thickness and everything that rivals what Chris Reeve is doing, but not quite the precision, right? So I think that is all good and well. By the way, just for reference, the Spartan Harsey folders are about twice the price of this, and the Chris Reeves are about 1.7 or 1.8 times the price of this. So this is a pretty good deal in that regard. Let's go ahead and talk about the bad on this, because there is some bad. Talked about the clip a little bit. The clip on this is really a hot spot. It's in a terrible place on here, and a lot of the knife sticks up when it's out of your pocket. So, and the fact that you have these offset colors, draws a lot of attention to that as well. So, combined with the hot spot and everything else, I don't love that. Also, there were a bunch of QC issues on these knives in the first batch. My understanding is they're working on fixing those in the second batch. This is their first attempt at a folder, so I'll give them a little bit of a break. Now, mine didn't have this issue, but I saw some issues where, these were closing, like the frame wasn't, sprung hard enough to stop it from closing. This one is totally fine in that regard, but it does not have a lock over travel stop, whatever you call it. It does not have, one of those bars that prevent it from over traveling, and I don't know why my language is evading me today. It also doesn't have a steel lock bar insert, which means that this has some lock stick. So Chris Reeve is generally good about not having lock stick because their geometry on the lock interface is so good, even though they don't have a steel lock bar insert on here. But this one, the geometry isn't quite as good, so you do get some lock stick. I don't know if you can see it here. There you go. So you do get some lock stick. It's a lot harder with your pointer than with your thumb. It's actually not bad with your thumb, but there is a little bit of lock stick, especially when you flick it out extra hard. So just something to be aware of on this. But overall, if you're going to spend the money, I actually am kind of curious to check out the second batch on these. So, or maybe I'll wait till a third batch. So I might try another one of these down the road just to see if they improve the quality. But if they can get their processes down, I do think this could be a game changer at some point. It's not right now. So would I recommend this knife? If you're looking for a titanium frame lock on washers, it's not bad. I can recommend it. Get it on the secondary market to reflect the pricing. I don't think it's quite up to $250 yet until they can get their QC under control. But I do think, that it's a decent knife, and I'm happy I got a chance to experience it. I would not recommend it over some other knives, like if you like the bearing action, like on Wii knives and Rayouts and stuff around the same price range. I think those are probably going to be a better bet for the most part. So just a couple things to keep in mind. One other thing to keep in mind is this Griptilian, right? If you're looking for just a hard use knife, so this Griptilian is $200 on DLT. By the way, there's a link below to that if you want to buy this. I also got this on DLT. I'll link this below as well. But this is my favorite version of the Griptilian, and I think this is a really underrated EDC knife because I think a lot of people have moved on from it, from when it used to be, the king of EDC knives, or the 940 or this, people I think got tired of it a little bit. This carbon fiber and M390 variation are excellent. It's $200. You're sort of the same price range on here. I think as far as an EDC goes, this is a far superior EDC, at least in the short term here. I'll check it out again, but this is a far superior EDC as it stands. So if you're asking me on, hey, I'm just going to buy one knife, should I go for something that might approximate, down the road, or is trying to approximate quality of Chris Reeve, or should I go for the Griptilian? I would say go for this Griptilian, not necessarily the lower end ones, but this Griptilian is really high quality, and I really recommend it. So that's a competitive option if you are into that. All right, I hope this review is helpful for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.